I never want to remove this. Look at the scoring and that. What's going on, people? How are we? Listen, today is track day. I've actually been here for a few hours, so this intro is coming kind of late, although you won't know that. But I'm just saying this to say a couple of things. I'm getting some onboards with my GoPro. There won't be much talking because it's such a busy day and there's so much for me to take in, it being my first day and all. But I'm going to try and do everything I can. There'll be a retro analysis to it. There'll be onboards. There'll be cinematics. There'll be as much as I could possibly give you in as great a quality as I possibly can. I just had my first sighting laps and intuition laps, and I promise you, like, yeah, this is awesome, and this car can do more than what I'm putting it through. I'm running on Potenza Sports at the moment, one of the standard wheels, which are doing well. The brakes are hot. that's just, yeah, how that is. So I'm letting it breathe and things like that. But yeah, oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. Great day out. Anyway, enough talking, people. Peace. Oh, first Warm up. think I've got a warped disc. Oh, at the back. I can't tell where, but I can feel it when I brake. That kid's a bit front. Okay, so we're gonna just look over the car. This is it. It's been parked up since the track day, which was, I don't even know how long ago that was now. Sorry for the wind. It's hella windy right now. The Bridgestones did well, as you can probably see. They held up quite well, considering I did about 20 to 25 laps. Shout out to Ali for the heat temperature stickers. The red stuff pads, yeah. These will be removed from the car pretty soon. And this is where, this was like the main failure point, really and truly. So the rear brakes, they were padded pads and MTech discs. They're coming off. I've already got replacements on the way. But this is the really bad one. Like, look at the scoring on there. That's what you're hearing. That's what you were hearing on the onboard when it came to the onboard on the track and whatnot. The discs are actually fine. It's just because of the rain and whatnot. So the discs are great. And yeah, again, as you can see, Pep's still got plenty of meat left. So yeah, the car didn't overheat once. There was no problems, no hiccups. I even put it to you like this when it came to, sorry, bug. When it came to like the oil level on the FN, it was absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. I didn't need to top it up once. The baffle was really doing its work, man. Really doing its work. I'm so glad I got that done beforehand. Yeah, it was great. Okay, recap time. This is coming to you quite a few days after the track day, mainly because I've just been busy since getting back. And there's been so much for me to do, so much for me to take in and handle and whatnot. I immediately got to getting parts for the car. But it was awesome. I say awesome a lot, don't I? I feel like I devalue the word a little bit, but it was so sick. It was so sick. I feel like everything I've done to the car up until this point, which I will refresh everyone's minds in this video here for those that are new, led up to a point of building a track car. Like Matt said it in his review, and I'll insert the clip here.
Yeah. The Frank is a race car.
Yeah.
It is. It's the, for me, and I'm already moving ahead to the conclusion.
It's so good. It's so good. So let me just run over the chassis mods and then the power as well. So the modifications I've got done to this car, I've got a big brake kit, the Megane Mark III, Freaky Parts BBK kit for the FN2, running red stuff pads and MTech discs. The rears were running padded pads and discs and MTech discs. All of that is going to change. I'll probably use the MTech discs until they die, and then I'll go to floating rotors. Then I've got a rear anti-roll bar which was recently installed, a white line rear anti-roll bar. I've also got rear polybushed beam bushes, so not necessarily the inserts but the beam bushes, right? I've also got front anti-roll bar poly bushes done with the subframe click fixed. I did the bushes just because I was told it makes sense to do it whilst I'm there. I wasn't going to fully push the car, but that's because of when I was running it on the road. Those plans would have changed, but I'll get onto that later on in the video. I've also got engine mounts, all poly bush, so the gearbox, the bottom engine mount, and the top one as well. So they're fully poly bushed. I'm running Tane Flex Z coilovers all around. The rear is they're all on set onto the medium setting, so the front is like 3. See, I think you've got 6 clicks, if I remember correctly. They're all on 3 from the softest to middle, so they're right in the middle. I'm running maximum camber that these coilovers will run at the front, and then I've got shims at the rear as well. Actually, I forgot to mention that I do have camber shims at the rear. I think that's all I've done handling wise, really and truly. Oh yeah, obviously I've had a fast road alignment as well. I do need to get it redone since I increased the camber just before the track day, just for tow, and to make sure everything is as I want it to be. But I'm in no urgency though. It drives perfectly fine on the road. It's just more for tire wear purposes. Right, and then engine wise, for those that don't know, again, those are new. I've got a K24 Frank setup with Skunk 2 drop-in cams, an RRC inlet manifold, which is not ported, with the standard throttle body. I'm running the CPL big bore induction kit, although it's just like the little end part that kind of sits in the engine bay, which does need to be changed and edited. I'm running a CPL 421 exhaust manifold with a custom 3-inch catback all the way back. So at the moment, the car's running 283 horsepower and 210 foot-pounds of torque, all naturally aspirated, which is awesome on track. And yeah, so that's the spec list, right? So now, just to kind of go on to how the car was, I'm going to talk about the car and I'm going to talk about me, because they're 2 different things that need to gel more with more time that I get on track, right? So the car was great, considering, oh, I forgot to mention, considering that I'm running Bridgestone Potenza Sport tires at the moment, yeah, on the standard wheels, so not on my BBSs, which are running F1 Super Sports. The tires held up really, really well. The degradation was actually really good, considering I was hammering it as well, as much as I could on track, right? Yeah, it was great. Oh, sorry, I forgot to add, I've also got braided brake lines all round. Braided brake lines all round. Oh, I just completely forgot. The brake lines all round, and I'm also running Motul, I think it's like 600 or 6000, whatever it is, .4 brake fluid. So yeah, anyway, right, the car was well. There wasn't anything I asked it to do that it didn't. I did. The brakes were a hindrance for sure, especially going out in other people's cars where I felt good brakes. I realized where my Achilles heel really and truly is, and that was the brakes. The brakes were good for what they are on road. They're amazing for road, but for track, they're lacking. So that's why I'm going to revisit all of that. The handling was awesome. I didn't realize how playful this chassis can be, or chassis is, at least the way mine is built. And when I say playful, I don't mean dangerous. So on those that know Snetterton, you know the back straight, so not the main straight, the back straight, which then leads to a left, a left where you got basically trail breaker to a tight right. I love that. This car loved that corner. I would brake going from like 127 to 130 miles an hour, or no, sorry, no. On the back straight, I was hitting about 120 miles an hour or so, yeah? I'd brake, downshift, right? Go into the left, and I know the onboard footage won't get it because the angle in which I put it up didn't capture everything that I was doing in the car, because they told me to move my mounting. I'm going to address all of that, right, basically for the next one. But as I'm braking, I'm using the rear to steer, to rotate. The rotation is beautiful on this car. Like my dad was in the car with me, right? And at one point, even he was like, yeah, this is good. Really, really good. My sighting laps were interesting. So I went out with, I think his name was Owen. If he ever sees this video, he can vouch for everything I'm about to say, right? just so I'm not tooting my own horn and whatnot. But the first time we were driving, the first things he said after we did our first 3 sighting laps was that I was out braking myself, right? So and this is another thing I needed to get used to. I'm too used to where I've got big brakes for the road. I'm too used to just using about 50% of that, even in terrible, even in last minute emergency brake situations, right? I'm too used to using 50% of it. So when I'm braking, I'm not really using the full brakes, if that makes sense. I'm not using the full capability. He was like, you need to stamp on the brakes. Yeah, you need to commit to braking. Only time you're not really committing that heavy to braking is when you're trail braking into that corner I was just talking about. Yeah, so, and luckily I did a little bit of sim racing back in the day. Trail braking, I kind of understood what that concept was, but I was never ever heavy in sim racing and whatnot. So I digressed. Basically, he said that was the only thing I needed to do. So when we went out on the next 3 sighting laps, we had a total of 6. We came back in and he was like, you're doing awesome. He was like, I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm saying it to you here and now, just so you know, maybe it's a gimmick, I don't know, we'll see. But he was like, for someone that's never ever driven on track, that was one of the best lap experiences I've had. And I was like, ah, ain't he sweet? But no, it was great. It was cool. I was trying to keep up with some of these race car Clios. So, you know, like the 197s and whatnot. In the corners, they're better than me. I was on road tires, on semi-slicks, all of that stuff. Cool, all that stuff. The straights, let me touch on the power because that's not the biggest thing about track, and that's not the main thing I like about track. But the power on the straights is serious. It's so serious. I was able to actually kind of keep up with some of the Megane 265s on the straights, which is cool because they were fast. They were fast all around the track. And yeah, it was just an awesome day. The car performed amazingly. The only hiccup, like I said, is the rear brakes. I can't drive it right now until they're done because I basically don't have any pads on the back left, and the back right is looking kind of sorry too. So, but they're coming, they're getting changed ASAP. The biggest hindrance on that day was me, right? I was the biggest hindrance of the performance that day. And that's to be expected. I've never ever been on track before. Closest thing I've done to track before is karting, right? Quite a few days of karting from when I was young to even last year sort of thing, right? Cool. So yeah, but the more I drove, the more I realized how much faster I could take it around the corners. I realized the more I can turn in, the more I can actually lean on the tires and also lean more on the brakes. There's a lot more pedal there than I'm used to on the road. And every single thing I asked the car to do, it did it. You know, the rotation, right, of the rear, when people said FN2 chassis are shit, especially when EP3 people say it, right? I don't know. What? Let me be objective here. Mine is not a standard car. It's not. It's quite far away from that now. Let's be honest. But it's awesome, and there's so much more potential in it. I had my full interior in, as you can see. As I'm sat in this car right now is how I took the car out. I had my dad with me that whole time. I did maybe 1 or 2 laps by myself, which makes a big difference, by the way, having a passenger and not having a passenger, which makes me realize how much weight is a big deal. It was just me, and every single thing I wanted the car to do, it did. It really did. Things I learned on the day. A, have cool down laps, especially if your car doesn't have brake ducting. Have cool down laps. Ali gave me he was running a really dope 197 track car and all that stuff, so that was awesome. But he gave me AP thermal stickers, which are on the brakes, right? And the second I put it on just after I came in, after being on track. Literally went from the track straight to the pits. When I put it on, it immediately maxed out the temperature. It went all the way up to the top. I was like, shit. And even when I got pulled over for noise, which I'll talk about later. As I pulled over, the brakes were steaming up, and they were like, yeah, just drive it around the paddock a little bit. And then it cooled down. So I've learned that lesson, right? And the other thing as well, noise. I need to quieten this car up. It's always because the problem is this. My engine is loud. It is loud, right? Especially in like when I'm caning in BTEC. The exhaust is loud too. One of the two has got to quieten up, and I know which one I prefer. The exhaust, it's just got to shut up. I'm gonna try and find solutions for that before I take it out on track again. Really and truly, those are the only problems of the day. I need to shout out Laura. I mentioned her a lot on my Instagram. I met her through a car club I'm part of, UGenCC. You know, you meet great people and then you meet great people. Like, you meet good people and then you meet great people. She is great. Like, it's because of her I've actually made the leap to go on track. And not only that, I went with a group of enthusiasts that had different cars, right? Ranging from M3, Civics, Clios, Megans. I generally, like, is so welcoming. My dad came out with me, they welcomed him as well. Like, these sort of things are a big deal. There's subtle touches that make the day amazing. And I genuinely do mean amazing. So it's I'm definitely gonna do more. I'm definitely going to do more. On top of that as well, so let me get on to what my plans are for the car as well. And I know this is quite a long section of it, right? But I'm just trying to detail my thoughts as much as they come in and as organized as I can. I was actually planning, and those would have probably worked that out from the posts I put on Instagram, from the posts I put on YouTube, on using this as my daily and then buying a purpose-built track car, basically, or one that's already halfway on the way, right? And I was honestly looking at Clio 197s, Clio 182s, and Mazda MX-5s, which is, I know, a weird jump. Yeah. EP3s I did really think about for sure, but they are very expensive for what you'd be getting at around the 4 to 5K mark. That's not happening no more. This is going to be my weekend / club sport track car. And I say weekend, I won't really drive it on the road. This car has already been in the making of being that car. The coilovers, the polybush, and then the rest of it's going to be polybushed for sure. The brakes, the new wheels I've got coming. I've got another set of wheels coming, right? And the engine, you know, the only thing that's really left to do is to kind of light a weight, make the interior, make the car lighter, dial it in performance-wise, right? So when I say dial it in performance-wise, definitely need to make that intake much more of a cold feed than it is right now, because I haven't put all of the parts for it to go down to the fog scoops. The fog scoops is another thing I need to do. Lighter seats, lighter bucket seats, rear roll cage, and really start to get more time out on track. And I feel like that's going to take quite a bit of time, and it's going to be something I'm going to document for all of you. Okay, I've already spoken to an awesome company, which brings you on to the second person I want to thank for that day, or the second people I want to thank for that day, John and Hannah at JD Motorsport Engineering. They were awesome, man. They brought snacks and stuff for everyone, helping me look after my car. They even helped me put a down angled exit pipe to try and make the sound less, so when I'm going past the sound triggers, isn't too bad. By the way, the sound triggers on Donington were 92 decibels. This was going past at 95. Bearing in mind, I went out in a V8 M3, which was loud, and I promise you, on the road, it would be louder than my car at full chat. And that didn't trigger it, so I don't even know how it works. Even the stewards, they were like, I call them the stewards. Let me talk to the track assistants, right? The track workers, they were like, we don't understand how your car's triggering it and nothing else is. Even an aerial atom, a supercharged aerial atom, those things when they're really going are loud. If you know, you know. Yeah, they helped me so much. And it will be them that will be helping me to spec my car for track. I'm going to get a sensible daily, so this will not be used as my daily anymore. It's going to get to a point where I'm like, I want this to grow with me, or I want to grow in this car on track. It's gone too far for it to just be a fast, like, daily road or B-road basher. I wasn't even pushing it on the B-roads, especially when we drove out in the peaks. I thought I really pushed it. I didn't. And because I thought let me not say not pushed it. I did push it, but I didn't even get to like 70% of what this car's capable of, and on better tires. So yeah, no, it's great. And I feel like that's enough talking now. The next video you'll see will most likely be a part that I bought a while ago, which is contradictory to things I've said in the past. If you know me, you know what I'm talking about, right? Or those close to me, right? But it's one that's needed, I feel like. It's a styling mod. And I've also got another mod which is super, super rare for the FN2. So stay tuned for that. Onwards and upwards, really exciting times, really exciting times. This is going to be a Club Sport K24 FN2 and I can't wait till it's built. Thank you lot for watching. And as always, take it easy. Show love where you see it. If anything you feel like I could do better on, let me know. I'm always willing to grow and I ain't sensitive, so yeah. Peace. I never want to remove this. So, Sunstrip will be coming soon. I don't know how it's going to work though because of the automatic wipers and stuff. Maybe I just have to sacrifice that shit. Or I do it just before the sensors. I don't even know if you can see it. So, yeah. Yeah. It's dirty at the moment. I can't wait to get these drawers off and run it on the BBSs again. But it's all good.